Welcome to the Mindset Connection podcast, where we showcase amazing people doing extraordinary things in the field of mental health and wellness. We are your hosts, Jennifer Clearwaters and Cindy O'Connell, and we are now welcoming in a new year, 2026. And as a reminder, we just want to let you know, if you like our podcast and you're listening to us, please hit the subscribe button. We all forget to do this too, but if you hit the subscribe button, it will help get our message out to more people. So please remember to do that. And also, as we're starting a new year, we want to let everyone know that we are officially accepting sponsors for our podcast. So if you like us and you like our work, please consider sponsoring us so that we can expand our podcast episodes to do more than 2 a month. We are really hoping that we can expand and get our work out. With that being said, we are moving on with another amazing guest. And today we are welcoming a guest who's doing some very unique work in mental health and wellness. And we can't wait for you to hear about her. Emily Fumosa from Aya Sacred Inc. is with us. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Right. I really appreciate it.
So, Emily. So, just a little bit about Emily. She is the founder of Aya Sacred Inc., a private wellness studio, which is absolutely lovely. Jen and I have been there, that offers ceremonial bodywork, energy healing, and intuitive guidance. So, just a little aside, when Jen and I walked into her space, I looked at her and I said, you have to be on our podcast.
Immediately.
I hadn't even
We're like, your name is Emily? Yet. You have to come on the podcast.
So it is definitely, you will feel it when you walk in there. In her work, she infuses meditation, fine line artistry, Reiki, and oral insight to clients that support healing, clarity, and personal transformation. Through individual sessions, Emily helps clients reconnect with their inner knowing and divine remembrance. Her approach is grounded, intuitive, and deeply respectful. She strives to create a supportive space where art, energy, and spirit meet. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much. Fun. I appreciate that.
So tell us your story. How did you get into this kind of work? What training did you need to do this kind of work? Because I feel like what you're doing is very unique. You're blending so many different energetic practices together.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I feel like I have to start a little bit going back because I feel like there's little breadcrumbs or synchronicities that really
dots.
Definitely dots, okay?
Right?
That
We're
like
connecting the dots.
Yes, that have pivoted me to specifically do this type of work. Because it's not something that when I was younger, I was like, I want to do, I know that I'm going to do this. But I would say art has been a big driver in my life ever since I was little. I was always good at art. That's what everyone knew me for. And I did try to pursue it. I actually did 2 years at an art college. And I was a little influenced to do something that had more stability. So
no starving artist.
That was the examples that I was given.
Yes,
you know,
I'm sure.
Our friends have a son. He's struggling, you know, trying to make art his living. Yeah, my mom was in healthcare, so that was more familiar and definitely encouraged. So I did transfer to the University of Tampa, actually, and I did allied health there. And so I actually graduated with a Bachelor of Science and a minor in fine art. It was still there, but it was the minor. And about a month after I graduated, actually from Tampa, is when my dad passed away. And that was very unexpected. Thank you. But that is my first shift. And that's where I feel like, even though my world was probably like splattered, that's where my story probably begins. And that moment, I didn't know what to do. I moved home to New Jersey to be with my mom. And actually a week after his wake, my mom made an appointment with me with a medium. And so I went
pretty soon,
a week after. And I did meet with this medium. And
just you or your mom
me,
too?
Just me. She had made an appointment with him, so she knew of him.
Okay.
And so, you know, my mom is a piece here too, because she has, even at a young age, she always believed in like fairies. and she would drop me things of like, I want to read you your numerology, you know?
Okay,
So like,
she wasn't unfamiliar to her. She wasn't like grasping for something
No.
new. It was already a practice that she was
yes.
following.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So I did meet with him, and you know, he read me cards. I wasn't really sure what to ask, but I did ask. I said, I don't know what to do. You know, I just graduated. I'm not really sure where my path is taking me. And he said, your dad is showing me something with bodies and art. He's like, I'm seeing like he's showing me like a body on a canvas, or you know, using the body on a canvas. And I was just like, huh, that's interesting. You know,
What? No health care?
Yeah.
I like
right?
health.
Right? I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So, I mean, I sat with that. I wasn't really sure at the time what that
it
was.
means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually went on to work at Sephora for a little bit. I always love makeup.
Yep, makeup.
Always love to express myself through that. And while I was working there, my school did pay for me to do my personal training certification. So I, you know, had a little nudge from my mom, like, what are you doing with that degree? So I did end up training for that. And I worked.
Personal training, as in physical personal training?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my special, like, it was a Bachelor of
In allied
Science.
health with a specialty in that.
Okay.
Human performance
Yeah.
and
Right.
exercise physiology.
Gotcha.
And so that I did enjoy that myself. I did find a passion for working out and, you know, just like feeling good, staying
And helping
healthy.
others
And
feel
helping
good.
others.
Yeah.
That was huge for me. And that definitely aligned at the time. So personal training, and I was teaching group fitness classes. And then COVID happened. And so all the gyms closed. And while they were slowly reopening, I was getting back into working out again. And actually, just after my 27th birthday, I was doing an outside workout and I tore the labrum in my hip. I actually had a big injury, so I wasn't able to walk without pain. I definitely wasn't able to run. And so I kind of paused, and I wasn't in the headspace to help other people with their journeys, because now I feel like I was really forced to look at my own journey and rehabbing myself, essentially.
Absolutely.
And that was a process that took, like, you know, you have to do PT before you can even get imaging. And that took a while. Like, my back ended up spasming. That was a journey, I will say. But it really did make me sit and reflect in words. And here's another moment where I was like, I loved doing this at the time, but now it's actually not aligning for me. And I went on to do permanent makeup school. And so I always love, like I said with Sephora, I love making people feel good about themselves, especially working with women. That's big for me. And so permanent makeup definitely was that field. But while I was in that, I did feel a little limited to, you know, just doing eyebrows.
Right.
I'm like, this
like
is
when
great.
I can do the whole body.
Yeah. I'm like, this is great. But where is my creative side a little bit? And so that's where I had a moment again where I'm like, if I were 80 and I was looking back on my life,
I love it.
what would I want to be known for? And I think for me, that answer was I wanted to be known for my art, because that was something that, a gift, I would say, that I was just innately, you know, born with here in this lifetime.
Yes, trust me. Yeah.
And yeah, and I was like, yeah, I want that to be my story. Or even if I don't make it, I want to try, you know? And so in that moment, I was like, I want to be a tattoo artist, or I want to do body art. And I had this deja vu moment where it literally brought me back to that moment with the medium.
Yep.
And I actually have the recording, and I just listened to it last night. And the medium literally says, your dad says body art. And I'm like, I don't know. I just remember that moment so clearly and being like, wow, he was leaving like bread crumbs for me, you know? And then yeah, about a few years later, here I am, and I'm like, yep, that's the route I would like to take. So I brought my art portfolio looking for somebody to apprentice me. I finally found somebody. And at the time that I was apprenticing, I also started to work one on one with this Reiki mentor.
Because those two fit together.
Because those two fit, right?
Those two fit.
And I should mention that she is also a psychic medium. So
Mhm.
I did start to see her specifically to speak with my dad. And then I got more curious as to a daily practice for myself. I do feel like I started to get in touch with my higher self, or my soul was starting to come through me more. And that was where I made the decision to work with her every other week, going for training. Early on in my apprenticeship, while I was doing Reiki, I was realizing that I felt like I was doing something more ancient than just, marking somebody for an aesthetic or whatever they're looking for. I felt like I wanted to take it back to the roots and infuse this intention and this energy. And, we're doing something bigger here. And I really wanted to peel back what that was. And that's where ceremonial body work to me is merging the body, the spirit, and art kind of as one.
Give us an example. Like if somebody were to come in, think about maybe a recent client or somebody that you've worked with, they find their way to you. I would guess that probably most people don't really even understand fully what you're going to be doing with them.
Yeah.
But it just sounds fun enough to just say, talk to me more.
Yeah.
How does it work? So what would a typical session be like?
So if someone is pretty open and doesn't already have a design in mind,
right.
Or
because sometimes they do, right?
Yeah.
They'll come and say, "Oh, I usually." Well, if you're going to get a tattoo, you usually come in and say, "Like, I'm thinking of this."
Yeah.
But if someone comes in and just says, "I don't know. I feel like I'm called to get something, but I don't know what."
So that is where I would offer an intuitive channel design session. And so that session is around 2 to 2.5 hours. And how I start that session off is by dropping into meditation. So I usually prepare a personalized meditation for somebody, kind of, based on if I've met them before, or I look at their name, and certain things will pop out to me as tools to use for the sound within the meditation or a song. And so it's a guided meditation to help them drop into their body. And I use Reiki as a guide to find where the design would best be placed. Where their energetic, their higher self is calling for that placement to be. So yeah, Reiki is the guide, usually for placement. And sometimes within that Reiki session, designs do come through. But after we're done with the hour of Reiki, we drop into an oracle reading where we use certain decks, or I do have a few decks, and it's really dependent upon the client, kind of like which one is calling to me. The deck will be like, me. So I'll go to whichever deck is kind of being intuitively called, and we'll go through that. And usually what the decks reveal is kind of what probably was coming through in Reiki, and now it's a way to almost materialize or understand whatever was like making its way and being asked to be seen. I feel like the intuitive design sessions really bring energy into form almost. So that is how that session would look. And then I give clients around 2 weeks to kind of integrate whatever came through, whatever messages. Yeah, to sit with it. Yeah. Because sometimes it can be a lot. There can be a lot in one session. And I kind of call that 2-week period like the integration.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got to gel a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And also for them, if anything, what they really resonate with, or if there's a piece that or imagery that they're like, yeah, I really feel like this should be part of it, then I'm wide open and I'm like, yes, let's really like put that into the piece. So after that session, then we would schedule the actual ceremony, and then that's where everything comes to marking and like sealing it in.
And that's when you would actually do the tattoo.
Yes. Yes.
So it's definitely more than a one session thing.
Yeah.
So it's very careful.
Yes.
Calculated specifically.
Definitely. Everything is like super intentional.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of comments and questions, but so when you were getting this undergrad degree in allied health, you had to take an anatomy course.
Yeah.
I mean, like every single thing that you said, I was sitting here going, yeah, that was part of this journey. Because so you had a knowledge of the body, then you taught fitness, more knowledge of the body. So yeah, it was definitely, I mean, and you're young. So, you know, I don't think you're done. I think you're definitely, I always like to tell people what their next step is, but
I love that.
I'm not sure.
No, I love it.
I'm not sure what it is yet, but it'll come to me.
No, I love that. I totally agree with you. And I think a big thing is exactly that, is anatomy was my favorite class.
Yes.
And I was like,
I took anatomy too.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I love learning about the body.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about permanent makeup was they actually teach you like the layers of the skin. It's a lot more in depth, right?
Yes. Every single thing led to this. So the only thing I'm not seeing in this, or you didn't talk about, is where did you learn meditation? So that's the next question.
Yeah, because the first thing that you're talking about working on with clients is having them drop in meditation. Yeah, and it's such a important practice.
Definitely. I would say with meditation, it's almost trial and error, right? Like anything for me, but for me, I really just try to do what works, and that is just creating like a safe space for people so that they can relax and feel safe to shut their mind off a little bit and drop into their body.
So where did you learn to meditate yourself is really what I'm looking for. Now you're absolutely right, because you know, if you, as soon as you say, well, we're going to meditate, people might look at you like, okay, I don't know how to do that.
You can sense right away.
Yeah, like they tense up.
Tense up.
So where did you learn?
I would say probably like more intentionally learn with my mentor. Like, you know,
the Reiki mentor?
Through Reiki.
Okay.
Through Reiki.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really like dropping in, finding that grounding, protecting, finding that space where you are safe to drop in.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that, and I can see that would, when you meet someone, it would allow them to feel that security from you, which is, you know,
because you're doing very, very personal work.
Yes.
So that, like, probably the designs or what they really want to share with you is not going to come out if they don't feel safe and comfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're not going to know
huge.
that. Like, they need to get into that state.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a big thing for me, is safety.
Yes.
And feeling safe within your own body. And that was also really important as to why I needed this private space, so that I could really be setting the scene for people to feel safe and to be okay dropping into being in meditation, you know? Because when you're coming for a tattoo, usually it's
open space.
It's open space.
Yeah.
Not each artist has control over the atmosphere and everything, and that's why with how I do this, like with my method and stuff, I really need to create a space that is private and quiet.
Yeah,
really.
And just so your listeners, we know, like, Emily shares an office space with our former guest Jenna Rose from episode 20. So that's how we met her. Cindy and I were coming in to see Jenna, and Emily was there, and we were like, who are you? Oh, you need to be on our podcast. But before we move on to a different area, I know you just talked about oracle readings.
Yes.
So if we could maybe just explain, if people either don't know what they are, or sometimes when you hear oracle readings, that's another, people are like, oh, what is that? Like, are you telling the future? Like, is it fortune telling?
Yeah.
Like, what is it, and why is that important in part your sessions with clients?
Oracle readings are, for me, they usually come from, a deck, an oracle deck. And the biggest thing for me is that, they're not coming to me to use the deck. My biggest thing is like, they're just a tool, and really the client themselves is the messenger. All the deck is doing is helping them see more clearly what their higher self is trying to say, or messages that are coming through them. And it's a way for us to maybe have a message come through more, tangible than if we can't sit and tune in sometimes. I think oracle decks are a great way to still receive the message, because sometimes we can doubt ourselves.
And the deck will have either a visual or words or something.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody reads the meaning and they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what, I'm going through right now. Or this is I just was going through this past year, and this is kind of a summary of all of that. And it really, I think it sets off something. They needed to hear that, and it's an important part of their journey and going forward. So I do look at oracle readings as a form of medicine, but I will say a big part of my work is, like, I've learned oracle decks by working with them, creating that safe, grounded space so that I can trust that I'm a sacred vessel, for this source energy to come through and for them to receive truthful messages. But anyone can do this, with daily practice. Like,
yeah.
And
anyone.
even that person can do it.
Yeah.
But I think that, this is my opinion, but I feel like people don't take the time to sit still, to do a self-inquiry, a self-reflection, and just repeat the same question. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
What's the message for me?
Yeah.
What is the message for me?
Yeah. That makes complete sense. And, in those scenarios and circumstances, or even if your emotional weight is just too chaotic right now with what you're carrying, then yes, it's amazing to go utilize these people who do have it as their daily practice, and you can trust that they're, a safe place for these messages to come through, and that it will be a place of truth, love, and wisdom for the client.
And I love that you give 2 weeks in between the session too, because there is so much, you might leave and you'll be overwhelmed with what you've heard.
Yep.
And not know what. I'm sure you probably have people that come in and are ready, like, I know what I want. I want you to just do it today.
Yeah.
But I think the waiting, the art of waiting is so important.
Yeah. Yeah,
plus the instant gratification. I
Well,
mean,
yes,
that's really
our-
what it is.
yes,
Every,
come in, I want a tattoo. Let me get it done today.
Western culture is, let's do it.
Exactly.
Done. Yeah. I want it. There's no dial it down.
Yeah.
Let's wait a little bit.
Yep.
Let's see
Let's
what happens.
reflect and see if it's what I really want or need.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's, it is. It's like the initiation almost, like you see your design, or in ancient times, like they would have it like painted maybe on, and then it's like, if you're ready to wear it, then, they do the actual marking. And with that comes pain, right? So it's like you have to sit there and endure it. So it's a whole like intentional, and you have to be really present for things like that.
So it sounds like you've done a lot of research.
Yeah.
Well, you would have to.
I mean, I think people just say, "Oh, she's a tattoo artist," but this is way more than this.
Yeah,
This is why we find you so special, because you're not just a tattoo artist,
right?
Not that there's anything wrong with being
just
a tattoo artist.
But,
it's not.
You're infusing
it's definitely
so
an
many
art.
Different
There's no question.
Into it.
Definitely. I would say like the more ancient historical roots is what I'm trying to re-infuse. I could even pull up a piece of history where they found, from the Ice Age, a man that was frozen. They found him, and he had these 3 little tally marks on his back. And they realized that that's an acupressure point. So they were using these markings as a form of healing, because essentially when you are getting tattooed, it does create heat. So it is a transfer of energy. And so within that transfer, it's like, this is a little portal that we can put healing. We can act as it is medicine, you know, and even as far as like acupressure points, like what? That's amazing. Yeah, so I feel like it's just so much more than just a physical marking or for aesthetic. Like there's more that we can do here.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, you have tattoos?
I do. I do.
Yeah,
So
I
who
think
does
so,
them for
yes.
you?
I mean, I've done them for myself. I've done them for myself, and then I had some other mentors do them for me. I had somebody.
So you did it on yourself. That has to be
Yeah.
difficult.
I did my left hand.
Yeah, I was looking at your left hand. Maybe you could show it, those people that are actually...
Yes. I have, so these weren't done by me, but this is my dad's birthday, and this is his signature. And I actually did go on Father's Day to get these done. And so he was a lefty, and so that's kind of how I'm honoring him in that way. And I tattooed his initials on me. And I also wrote the word eternal, because a big part of my journey with him was realizing that energy is never created nor destroyed. And even though he's not here in the physical sense, he is still here, you know, energetically. And that's just like my daily reminder.
Yeah, and
in
he's been
that
giving you
sense.
messages like since a week after.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It really is. So
Yeah.
my one question was going to be like, who or what are your sources of strength and inspiration? So obviously your dad seems to be one.
Yeah. I would definitely say my dad is a big he's a big inspiration to me, and I'm very observative of the people in my life, and also reflecting how he lived his life is big for me. He worked long days, you know, and I feel like for me, reflected back in my life, I really just don't like all my days I don't want to just be so full of just working and the daily grind. I want to make time for rest and for quality time. That's a big thing, and rest is also an important part of the work, because you know I need to show up for clients not as a empty vessel, right? And I need to be fully present and there with them. So I feel like that's a big source of inspiration for me.
Self-care.
Right.
Yeah, self-care. Exactly.
So what would give us an example of some artwork that you've done, body work that you've done that was one of your favorites?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, I don't know if I could pick a favorite.
Well, okay,
but
so
I
something
could,
that was
yes,
impressive to you.
Yeah, or you just
It's okay to be impressed with yourself.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, I
And
did
your work.
that.
or even the whole process where you were like, this was just incredible.
I would say, you know, I was going to mention maybe like the first person who trusted me to do this process with them, because I was talking about it to clients before I was even doing it.
That's good though.
Yeah.
You're saying it out loud, you're making it real.
Yeah. Just sharing the direction that I would really like my work to go.
Yeah.
And I had one client who was really interested, and it was before I had my space, and I just value that she was so trusting. And the process was also really cool because she had a lot to do with what was done. You know, she had a lot of, from reading her cards and seeing the messages that came through, she had a lot of inspiration for what to put into that piece. And I'm a big driver on encouraging people to, you know, this is, we're pulling from your field. So this is essentially coming from you. It's not just me. You know, if anything, I'm the artist and I can make it come to life, but I'm really asking them, you know, calling on them.
Right.
So I appreciate the collaboration with clients, you know, and making them pretty involved, I would say, in the work itself.
What did that piece look like?
That piece was, oh, this is interesting. So I will share that it was, so I have a piece like this, right? And it actually was on this, in the same placement. Her cards, she had a lot to do with a bird, but we didn't do a physical bird. We did more of an abstract represented bird. She had a snake in there as well. But what I will say about the interesting thing is when I was in Reiki and when I was looking for placement, usually I'll get a little knowing on which side of the body it's supposed to be on. Kind of, it'll start left or right, and then we'll drop into the energetic centers as I'm moving down the chakras. With hers, this tattoo started to burn. It started to burn, and I thought that
On
was
you.
on me. And I thought that was really interesting. I was getting this like tingling, and we sat and we discussed, oh, what came through for you? And, you know, I didn't want to tell her that because I wanted to see what she pulled from our session. And she had told me, she was like, you know, I see something on my arm, kind of like on my hand. And yeah, almost like this.
Almost like yours.
Yeah.
Right?
But she was pointing to her arm. And then I lifted up mine and I was like, yeah, kind of like this, right? Like this exact placement. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, you know, what's so crazy is that this started to burn while we were in Reiki, or almost just signaling to me like this is where it was going to go.
Yeah.
And so that was, yeah, that's really interesting.
Wow.
Kind of placement will come through in different ways like that.
So your days are never the same.
Never the same.
That's for sure.
No.
So what would you say is like a takeaway that you could suggest for people who are listening to this? What do you want people to know?
I would say that my work definitely meets you where you are. I would say I'm really big on creating a safe and intentional space for people to just come be as they are, and I'll meet you there.
I love that.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject, where is it? Like, tell us how people can find you.
So, as you mentioned, I'm in the same space as Jenna Rose, and that is at 617 Union Ave in Brielle, New Jersey.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then tell everybody where they can find you online or on if you have a website or social media,
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah, my website, it does share more information about exactly what the services that I offer, and that is ayasacredinc.com. And then my Instagram, if you want to reach out to me, that is ayasacredinc. Yep.
Okay.
And we'll put all that in the show notes so people can see it.
So what is a typical day for you, like you personally? Like,
Me personally,
what is your,
yes.
you know, I mean, usually we say to people, oh, what is your self-care? But you're different.
I feel like you need different prep. Like you need different preparation.
Yeah, you
for
definitely
things.
do.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, just like Jen has to be in a very specific headspace if she's going to
Exactly.
listen to 5 patients all day long
Yeah.
as a mental health clinician.
Yep.
You know, in a sense, you're kind of
what's
in
your
the mental
prep?
health
Yeah.
realm too.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
But you're not going in and doing like 8 people in a row.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
No.
But
Yeah.
what do you do?
What do you do to prep?
What I do is in the mornings, I do start with my own practice. I start with kind of an inner divination practice myself. And so that
You're going to have to explain. Yes.
Yes. Tell us what that means.
Yes, that looks like going through each chakra, each energetic system. So I'm really dropping in inwards. And what I'm doing there is I'm using the energetic system to go upwards. So I'm going inwards to go upwards.
Mhm.
And whoever's at your top, source, your higher self, whoever you want to call in, usually I'm connecting to my higher self. And within that space, that protective space, I always create a pyramid of white light. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Mhm.
Yep. Within that space is where I will sometimes drop into an oracle reading for myself, or I might journal that morning, kind of whatever is just calling to me. And I do also, I'm big on showers. I'm big
Of
on
course,
purification
that's
showers.
a Reiki technique, right?
Yes.
Getting rid of all the energy.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So sometimes in the morning I'll start with that, or after the day. That's big for me. I will, yeah, exactly, use Reiki as the cleansing and the purification. And singing. Singing is big for me. I'm getting into.
She sings too.
She sings too, by the way.
By the way, I'm learning to tone, because that is something that I've dropped into my meditations. Even is my own voice, gaining more confidence with that. But I feel like it's a great way to shift energy, to move through whatever is in the
Yeah.
body.
And we learned about that when we had Shannon Hawley on, our sound healer. She talked about the importance of tone and vibration.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. And I would also just say, like, when I do step into my space, I do have a ritual of cleansing and smudging and just getting the room ready to hold the energy. And at the end of the day, I do have like a cleansing ritual for that as well. But yeah, keeping my own practice, having it as a daily thing, and also finding time to rest, in whatever way. I know that that's
But it's really important.
Yeah.
In the work that you're doing, you do need to rest and recharge. It can be physically and emotionally draining.
Definitely. That's exactly it.
Yep.
And that's also why I do only take, at max 2 clients in a day, just because I'm giving that person kind of all of my presence and
Yes.
everything that I have to offer. And I don't ever want to feel rushed or have them feel rushed within
Or
the
feel like
session.
they got you at the end of your day,
Yeah.
and you're only getting 50%.
Exactly.
That's not what they're there for.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That's super important to me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. So, some final questions that we ask every guest that
Yes.
comes on.
I love it.
So, how do you view failure?
How do I view failure? I feel like this is so funny because I just
Here
said
we go.
this. I just said this to my therapist the other day. I said, if this was a test, I failed. And she said, what is failure? There is no failing. She said, it's only learning. And I completely agree with that. Yeah, there is no real failure, because when you descend, you earn wisdom. And so, yeah, it's beautiful to have maybe what we label failure, because that's
Right.
where you
Yeah.
have
It's your
insight.
learning.
Yeah.
And if you don't pick it up the first time around or the 10th, like you're going to
Yes.
still keep getting
If you do the
shown-
same
right.
thing,
You're still going to get shown that same path
Yeah.
until
the
you
circle.
actually
the
learn.
big circle.
It's the circle,
It's a
right?
circle.
Yes.
We need to break it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. For
yeah.
sure. Step out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your 3 most important strengths? Don't overthink it.
3 most important strengths. I'm laughing because I'm like, rest. Rest is like popping up.
Yeah, but rest is important. We've
Yeah.
never had anyone actually say
Yeah,
that.
and
that
it's
they
interesting
value
because I don't
rest.
think that you're saying rest. You're
Mhm.
not saying sleep.
No.
And what's the difference for you?
I would say rest, especially in this day and age, is unplugging.
Yes.
It's-
Recharge.
Yeah, recharging. Unplugging from, the portals that are our phones, that black screen. Yeah, taking a break from that and really just focusing on the self, whether that's nourishment or, it's judge-free laziness. Maybe you're just being lazy,
Daydreaming.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're
It's not a
just-
bad thing.
No, you need that time.
Yeah. So I like that you are saying rest, even though we know we need sleep,
Yeah.
but we also
Yes.
need rest.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
so what are
else?
what are your strengths?
What are
You
my
know how to
other
rest.
strengths? I know how to rest.
It's a big one.
And she could probably teach others.
Yes.
You might want to have a blog.
Yes.
Yeah, right? On rest.
Uh-huh.
I love that. My other strengths, I would say my creativeness. That's pulling
100%.
through.
Mhm.
Even with those purification showers that I was talking about, I actually have like a business idea that's been popping off about selectively creating a soap that is formulated for cleansing, and then a lotion that's for protection. So it's
See,
like
now you just said, what's the next step?
I know.
Here you go.
there we go.
A
pulled
blog
out.
on rest.
Right.
And
The little,
And soap
ritual
and-
for the soap and the
and
lotion.
body.
okay.
Okay, get
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So, what's
love
going
that.
well in your life?
What's going well in my life? I always go with my intuition. So what's coming
Mhm.
is communication, I would say. Communication within my personal life and with others. I feel like I'm learning how to be okay with shining and not worrying about dimming others. Okay.
I love
Hope
that
that makes
because you know what? It's so important to say that because most people, like you said before, it's okay to showcase yourself. But like, I think but by nature we go, oh no, like we especially in our field, we're the background people, right?
Yes.
Trying to make other people shine,
Exactly.
you know, and then we're
Exactly.
like behind the stage.
Yes.
So for you to say like, I'm going to be center stage too, it's hard.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
it's hard.
hard. It is hard. And I've been told it's like kind of maybe even a wound that I've carried through multiple lifetimes. And it's
Mhm.
almost like, well, if that's the case, I'm willing to work on it in this one.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go.
You know?
For you.
You're an
Break
old
the
soul.
cycle. You are an old soul.
Yeah.
You have to be. Mhm.
Yeah, I feel
So this is also questions that we ask, and this comes from the Elevation Principles, which is our book. Is there something you want to change?
Just yes or no.
that. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's holding you back?
I think like most people, it's probably fear.
Yes. It's so
Okay.
funny because
Yep.
I knew you were going to say fear.
Right.
Not everyone says fear.
Okay.
But
okay, yeah.
I just
But I
like
think
I was
it's
like
an-
looking at you and
Yeah.
I'm saying she's going
It's
to say
an
fear.
honest
Yeah.
reason.
It
and, you know,
is,
and fear
for
is also
sure.
a scary reason. It's hard to admit
Yeah.
that you're afraid to do something.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that you can do to take a step forward? Step out of this
Step
fear.
out of the fear.
I'm a big believer in like you can only control yourself or what you can do.
Of course.
Yeah. So for me it's like even coming on here, right? This was a step for me.
Well, we
Because-
didn't give her much time. We met her and said, "You're coming on."
Yeah. You didn't
But
even
I
have to
love
think.
it.
And then
I
2
love
weeks
it.
later, we were like, "Hey,
You're
are
coming
you
on
available?"
now.
but I love that. And it's
We
funny
didn't
because
give you a chance to be afraid.
yes. And when you asked me the question too, about is there something I wanted to change, I was thinking on a global scale. And I was like, yes.
Oh, but that's good.
But then it became personal. It's like, oh, but what's holding me back? Because
Mm.
it's true though, the change on a global scale starts individually.
That's right.
So
Yep.
it's really, if I want the rest of the world to release fear, it's like, well, we have to start with just
We all
ourselves.
have
Exactly.
everything starts with
All right,
us.
so,
Yeah.
so start working on that, huh,
Yeah.
Emily?
Yep.
Yes.
Get
Yeah.
that soap and lotion out.
Yes.
We're ready.
Exactly. And share it with others. So,
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you
that's
so
good.
much,
Honesty
guys.
and
So we're so happy that you came on today.
Yes.
We'll
Thank
just bang the
you.
table. Sorry. That's a no-no. So we will be back again with another episode with amazing people doing extraordinary things in the field of mental health and wellness. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our
Yes.
podcast so we can get our message out. And again, if you are interested in sponsoring or partnering with us, all of our information is in the show notes. Please give us a shout out and we would love to connect with you. And as always, Cindy has our final words of wisdom.
All right. So remember to pause, breathe, and then respond instead of react. Take that sacred pause and do hard things. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.